What's up, junkies? Welcome back in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Michael Larson, big brother Jared Larson, and friend of the podcast, Yardage Locks. You can find him on Twitter at Yardage Locks. That's Yard, Y-A-R-D, and then I'll let you do the rest of it there, Yardage.
A capital L-O-C-K-S. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
If you don't know how to spell Yardage Locks, then you can just unfollow the podcast as far as I'm concerned.
It's going to be fun. So, fellas, we've reached the conference championship weekend, which is just crippling depression. We got
sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's after this is bowl season, and
I do love bowl season. You can make a lot of money betting bowl season. Spoiler alert: I will be hammering whoever Bama's playing.
Yes,
because they are maybe going to have
five
half
players
of their offense playing.
Yeah. Well, I would assume Waddle or however is going to play, and after last weekend, I think you could just put him out there by himself, and
he's not going to play.
Score.
Or is he a sophomore?
I think he's coming back. He announced it already.
Yeah,
Am I crazy?
No, I think because he'll be the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. I think he's coming back.
I think so too. But I agree with you. Normally, I would like to think they'd get the Michigan State treatment, whoever Alabama plays, where they're just going to absolutely mush their face in. But I think now that we've seen this trend of guys in bowl games that have high draft stocks, they're just going to sit out and be like, I'm going to go count my money and have fun.
I don't blame them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them at all. I mean, I sit here in my cube all day and, I think about millions of dollars. If I had millions of dollars on the way, I think it's you've done enough for your university. Like, you're a junior, you've been balling out. Like, it's okay, guys. Tickets were $20 to get in to the Citrus Bowl. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be all right. So the first game, we're gonna go to Levi's Stadium. Big college football implications, college football playoff implications in this one. Utah at number 5, taking on the Oregon Ducks. Utah favored -6.5. How are we feeling about this one?
I really like Utah. I've liked them all year. Bet them quite a bit. Land some heavy numbers. This defense is really good. It's the last, unfortunately. We'll see them, of course, in the bowl game. So maybe in the playoff of Zach Moss and Tyler. Is it Tyler Huntley? Definitely Zach Moss. Anyways, the Huntley kid.
Yeah.
Huntley.
Both South Florida kids actually up in the mountains playing for the Utes and Kyle Whittingham. I think this is going to be an ugly game. Interestingly enough, this is probably the dichotomy of Oregon and how they actually play versus the perception of Joe Blow that still thinks this is Chip Kelly coaching this team and they're spinning it up and down the yard. This is one of the most plotting offenses in the Pac-12 and for that matter in the country. Utah, the same thing here. So to me, 6.5 seems a little bit steep, but I have heard precisely 0 people that are interested in betting Utah this week, which usually makes me lean towards that side. But to me, this is just a dead under based on style, based on what's expected to be rain in the forecast. And, again, I think Utah is going to play it pretty close to the vest because they think if they win, they can get in. But more on that later.
No, I completely agree. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think people, outside of us, don't actually watch the Pac-12 late at night. That Utah front sevens is one of the best in the country. They got some athletes on their both sides of the field, and then you got Oregon obviously with Herbert and the guys. But like you said, they don't have Chip Kelly leading that offense. It's pretty bland. It's boring. You know what's coming. And I think it's gonna be an ugly game, like you as well. I would say I'm going to take the point by the half point and take Oregon +7. I think that's too many points. I think Oregon's going to keep it close. It's almost like a rivalry game, and there's going to be a lot of fans there. Oregon traveled very well. I think it means a lot to them to win the Pac-12 and their perception in the bowl game. So that's my pick. But I do think Utah closes it out late at the end of the game.
Yeah, I would. When I look at this one, I would lean Utah just because I've liked them pretty much the whole year. Surprisingly, Lee Corso pulled this one out of his keister at the start of the year, saying he had them in the college football playoff. and here they are knocking on the door. The question has always been, is Huntley and Moss going to stay healthy? And when they have been healthy, those two have been very, very good together. Yardage, I know you hit on the point of that front seven for Utah. I argue that Auburn and Utah had probably two of at least the top three defensive lines in the country.
100%.
We saw what Oregon's offense did against Auburn early in the season. Now, yes, you can say teams get better, but we'll see. Justin Herbert hasn't really impressed. However, they are saying right now it's looking like projections are saying he's going to stay in California until this team that he would be drafted by migrates to Vegas. They're thinking he's the heir apparent to David Carr, I'm seeing on some sites. But anywho, a guy that...
Twitter.com.
Twitter.com. Yeah, those are my sources. But this is a guy that was a Heisman frontrunner coming into this year and has just kind of slowly drifted off into the sunset. I don't know if this comes down. I might do the opposite of yardage, go down to
it's all good
6, and then and play it from there. But I'll probably be watching this one as we get closer to kickoff on Friday night. But the next matchup, and the one I'm actually really interested in because I think the winner of this could jump Utah, the team mentioned beforehand, and that is the rematch, Baylor versus Oklahoma. Baylor getting +9 against the Sooners.
Locks, you can kick this one off.
Oh, man. Okay, I think this is actually the toughest game, but the easiest bet. This actually, I think I'm loving the underdogs. I actually think Baylor +9 is pretty substantially locked. That's my biggest lock of the weekend, I would say. I think it's 9 points is way too many points. I think Baylor is pretty explosive on offense, and then you have a Big 12 defense, but both teams are pretty atrocious on the defensive side of the football. And you ready for me to say something? I think Jalen Hurts is overrated.
Oh.
People are going to be offended by that. If he ever faced a good defense like he did in the SEC, he would struggle to pass the football because we would destroy their run. And he has so much time to sit back there at Oklahoma and pick apart a defense, and it's frustrating to watch on television because these defenses are incoherent. And so that goes back to the point where I think Oklahoma is going to take the win late into the game, but I think it's going to be close. I don't think anyone's going to have a big lead. And I think Oklahoma pulls out by 6 and missed extra point at the end.
Did you watch the national championship game last year?
Yeah, of course.
Did you pass out in the second half?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Did you see how he was just murking the Georgia defense, the much heralded University of Georgia Bulldogs?
I loved him that day. Big Jalen guy. I think he's a great person, great guy. I just think he's overrated. That's all.
It's nothing against his character.
This is
one of the best guys in college football.
This is going to be an absolute bloodbath for Oklahoma. Baylor just boat raced Kansas last week. The mental midgetry will take over. Huge lead at home, game of the program, and a complete and utter melt in the second half at home in Waco 2 weeks ago. I don't remember.
I think so.
Georgia
Oklahoma is going to blitz Baylor up and down the field. Mr. Brewster, who had a fantastic game against Texas because he's pissed that he didn't get recruited by them, does not have the same disdain for the University of Oklahoma Sooners. This game is indoors. It's going to be a track meet. CeeDee Lamb is back, and I expect him to score 2, potentially 3 touchdowns in this game.
We're on opposite ends here.
Yeah. God, I guess I gotta be the coin flip on this one. I normally...
He's going to side with you because he's your friend. He's scared.
Okay. Whenever I'm on Oklahoma, I'm always wrong. So that's a huge thing as well. I think there's just a lot, like you said, Jared, there's a lot going for Baylor going into this game. And I think if Baylor wins, you can make the Georgia argument from a couple years ago when they beat Auburn in the SEC championship game that, they corrected their one loss. They beat Oklahoma. So therefore, they're kind of undefeated with a little asterisk next to it. and I think they could sneak into the college football playoff.
Oklahoma's getting in.
9's just too tasty.
Oklahoma's getting in, boys and girls.
Too many points.
Watch.
Oklahoma's getting in. I agree with that. I think Oklahoma's going to win, Georgia's going to lose, and they're going to put them in. I think it's pretty straightforward.
And then everyone's
So we agree there. I just don't. I think Utah's too ugly. I think the style's too ugly. Everyone wants to say that it's not about TV ratings. Guess what? It's about TV ratings, which means it's ultimately about money. Pull your head out of the sand. That's what's going on here, and nobody wants to watch Utah, and they don't draw.
But the director of college football playoff went to Oregon. I keep thinking about that. Maybe does he have any impact on Utah?
That's only one guy in a room of 13.
But he's the one that speaks.
It's true.
Yeah, but the guy that speaks doesn't. He just it's like a lead juror saying that he has more than one vote.
You know what? I hope you're right.
Or whatever those people are called. Coxswain.
You act like I pay attention to local government. I mean, come on.
No, it's not even local government. Whoever the person that says, "We the jury find the defendant," whoever that person is.
Guilty. Death.
Yeah. It's like they're just reading off the card. Dead. You.
Make sure you wet the sponge. We're going to go to Boone, North Carolina. Kid Brewer Stadium. The Appalachian State Mountaineers, number 21 in the country, just a few years after joining the 1A ranks, taking on Louisiana Lafayette. Mountaineers.
No, just Louisiana.
It says Louisiana Lafayette on my little card right here.
I'm telling you, they go by Louisiana Raging Cajuns. They're not Lafayette anymore.
Well, they're whatever. Who cares? Anyway,
sure
App State getting 6.5, or excuse me, App State minus 6.5. Not getting, because I think everyone would be over that.
I was going to say, I'm on the way to the bank to empty it out now.
This is really testing everyone's football knowledge here.
Yeah, Scott, I predict that App State will go downhill pretty significantly in the coming years. Scott Satterfield is a fantastic coach, in my opinion, has really turned Louisville around in a very brief period of time. These are all still his players and his team and his culture. So I think that will kind of last like a chicken with its head cut off for a year to 2 years, just based on the groundwork that he laid. And then they'll go right back into oblivion in the mountains drinking their moonshine. But no opinion here. If I'm going to – obviously I think App State's going to win, but that number seems a little bit fishy to me.
Yeah, I like that. Have you ever been to Boone?
No.
I have not.
Well, it's a special place, let me tell you. Boone is a special place. That place is electric. I don't even know who the head coach is there. I don't know. I haven't watched a game of them this year. I do know they're ranked, and the place is going to be wild. I got App State by 21.
Oh.
It's going to be cold, miserable. It's going to be a rough one for the Louisiana guys. I mean, it's going to be a lock. It's an App State day. I might have to wear the hat.
Get the headgear on.
I might have to. Get it out.
It's going to be no action for me, but if I ended up playing this one, I'd go App State.
No, not touching it.
Yeah. No.
But just letting you degenerates out there know. 21, they're going to win by it. Yeah.
I'm waiting for yardage to come in with by a field goal. By a field.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
It's coming. I love it. Next up, a rematch of the game. But this time it's Miami, Ohio versus the Chippewas and old Jim McElwain of Central Michigan. Chippewas laying 6.5. I keep saying getting.
Yeah, I like Miami, Ohio here. I like the Red Hawks.
Ooh.
McElwain and old Horsemouth has got it turned around a little bit down there, but they're up there, I should say. But it's also I do think he's a decent coach when you're in the MAC. Obviously, at the University of Florida, that's a different situation. But he did great at Colorado State. People forget about that, and I think he'll continue to do well at Central Michigan. That being said, not a lot of dudes on this roster. And for them to lay 6.5 points after a couple lackluster performances in the last couple of weeks, I just am not interested. We'll get our last moment of maction for the season. It'll be another sad day until November next year. But I'll get to the window here with the Red Hawks.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I take the Red Hawks all day. I've actually watched a couple of their games. They're not a bad football team. I don't know much about the Chippewas, but
they're all bad. They're in the MAC.
Right,
they're all
not
bad.
Great. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to me though how McElwain turns it around at Colorado State and then goes to Florida and just falls apart. And I don't know. It's just crazy to me how hard it is to be a college football coach.
At that level, yes.
People just forget it. I mean, I think McElwain's a heck of a coach, and I'm sure he'll turn it around over there where he is, just like you said, because he's in the MAC. So, but yeah, Miami, Ohio. I'm not touching it. Probably won't watch it. Hope you guys enjoy it.
I don't think you'll be able to find it on TV.
Yeah, I bet you it's on ESPN, dude. Gotta be.
I bet you it is too. Big game.
Big game. I'm going. I actually will probably be taking Chippewas in this one though. They've been kind to me all year when I've actually put them on the card, and every time I look up there, I mean, Jimmy knows how to put points up there somehow.
At
Colorado State and at Central Michigan, the guy's putting up like 40 plus a game, but at Florida he couldn't muster up like 14. So I don't know, but I'm with it. At Ford Field, I mean, Detroit fans are just dying to see touchdowns scored in their stadium. So, I mean, come on. And then the best part is, I mean, Central Michigan, this is the type of game they'd turn right around and go play in the Motor City Bowl against somebody.
In Detroit.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I
love it.
Just
Sucks
stay there.
for them.
It's so unfair for the other team because Central Michigan has like 50,000 there, and no one else wants to go to Detroit.
50,000, dude. Have you been watching these MAC games on Tuesday night? There's like
It's Tuesday.
Yeah, there was more at my 1A private high school games. Like
seriously, it's kind of depressing actually.
The next up, possibly the last game ever coached by Lane Kiffin at FAU, taking on UAB. The Owls laying 8 at the Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium in Memphis.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with FAU. They're playing for their coach. I'm all in on them. I don't know. I really don't know, man. That's a tough one. I mean, I think Kiffin. I think he's a heck of a coach. Actually, what are they? 8-3, right?
I'd have to double check, but I believe so.
But yeah, so someone asked.
Right.
Someone asked. I think he interviewed today, or not interviewed. He went on a radio broadcast today, and they asked him if he wanted to stay at FAU, and he said that he hopes that they want him there. And I was like, why would they? Probably want. Isn't he there for 8 more years? He signed a 10-year contract.
I was gonna say he's got a huge contract. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I feel like he loves Boca Raton. It's like perfect for him. I think, this isn't besides the point from the game, but Kiffin's the man. So I'd have to go. I got to go with FAU over UAB. I think UAB's got a great program though. That new coach they got over there. So their second or third year returning, brought them to a bowl game every year. I think they've been fantastic, but FAU's been rolling. I'm riding with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna take UAB. I think a lot of for everything that you just said, I'm not buying. I think the Lane train is extremely distracted. The players know it. The coaches know it. What people never talk about is when these coaches start taking jobs, that means that their ass is on the street, and they got families and they got kids and they got all these things that they have to get settled with, and it's just football is not at the top of their mind. So I usually look to fade this type of position. Obviously, we'll be checking to see if there's any more news as it pertains to Lane Kiffin and Florida State University or any of the other jobs for that matter before kickoff. But I just think this is a very distracted team going to a sleepy town to play a sleepy team. And these boys from Boca, I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm a single dude making a couple $1 million living in Boca. Like
what?
Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal.
I too am probably going to be rolling with the Blazers in this one. I really like Bill Clark and what he's been doing at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. That team was, as everyone knows, was dead and non-existent. 3 years ago?
Remember when someone said that Auburn should hire Bill Clark?
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I couldn't stop laughing.
I think he's a great
Like,
fit for that
what?
school. He's done a phenomenal job with that program, and it's like
Yeah,
they were a
playing in
Phoenix.
Conference USA.
I get it, Jared, but they've done a good job with that program. It was literally a Phoenix. Like they literally shut this thing down,
Like the Phoenix.
and they've been resurrected. They're even doing stuff to whatever the stupid stadium is in Birmingham,
Legion Field.
Legion Field. They're like renovating it
So
because
ugly.
Dump.
still, yeah, there will be. It will never not be horrendous. Which still brings me to my point that Alabama listed that as a home field and has claimed for all those years that the Iron Bowl is a neutral site game. So just think about that for a second.
They sucked. They lost. Boom.
Boom.
Bitches.
Trash.
Boom roasted.
Imagine going there.
I imagine going there. Not any
What
of
a
us.
shitbox that place
Nope.
is.
Nope. Shout out to my sister who did. Loser.
Oh, now we got the rematch of the Power Six conference, the AAC. What is it? AAC? Is that what am I saying? Isn't that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
American Athletic.
That's the ACC, All Clemson Conference.
Just alphabet soup all over here. This conference.
The Big Ten is really the Big 12, and the Big 12 is really the Big 8, and it's whatever. Cincinnati Memphis rematch. Memphis -9.
Yeah, I'm going Memphis. Back to the well.
Ooh.
Cincinnati has not looked good. Obviously last week, and then an interesting win by Ohio State over them, which looks less impressive based on the teams that Cincinnati has managed to squeak by this year. I think Luke Fickell, a lot of the same stories that I just said with Lane Kiffin. I think Luke Fickell will be a pretty serious candidate for some of these big Power 5 jobs, or excuse me, some of these Power 5 jobs that are starting to open up, and as will Mike Norvell for that matter. I think this is probably the last time you see him on the sidelines at Memphis, following in the footsteps of my boy Justin Fuente. But I'll
saw
take Memphis
Fuente's
here
name being
and lay
thrown
the
around
lumber.
for Arkansas, by the way.
Well, no one's going to win at Arkansas, so don't go there.
Plus, Jared would have to hate him.
Agreed.
I can't hate him.
It's like one of the worst places you can go.
I like Coach O.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Well,
I do hate Bielema,
Oh,
but they won't rehire him.
I miss
Man,
being
I
able to hate him.
love chewing.
I think he's
I love
lost
chewing
anyway.
his ass.
He's the
Zero
O-line coach
sentiments.
for New England. Just look for the blimp
course
on
he
the
is.
sideline.
I love it. I loved getting into him so hard.
Jared and I used to
We
just
just
dog
crushed
us from the stands. When we played them 2015, first game of the year, I think, 2015. Anyway,
No.
It was like
16.
1,000. It was 1,000 degrees outside, and the guy came out in a full jumpsuit. Had the
Yeah, when
temp-
Jeremy Johnson played.
Oh, God. Yeah, because Nick Marshall.
Yeah. So I like
Johnson.
but I like Memphis. I think Norvell's a fantastic coach, like you said. I think he'll be gone at the end of this year. My prediction is Florida State actually is going to get him. I've been saying that.
Ooh.
I think
Wow.
he's real. I know it might be really bold. I know Florida State fans thought they were getting Stoops for the longest time, but
I know a couple that still think they're getting him.
yeah, that's not happening. I don't know. I just think Norvell's a good fit. I think he probably knows recruiting pretty well down there. I think his offense is like a way cooler version of Malzahn's, and it's like modernized. I think he's just a good.
Whoa.
I know it's crazy thing to say. It's just fun to watch in Memphis. I think he's got a great team, and I think they're going to cover. Like you said, Cincinnati's down. And it's going to be a 14-point win, I think, for Memphis.
Yeah, from watching this game last week, Cincinnati struggled so hard offensively. It was just brutal to watch, where Memphis, I feel like, just blew the lid off. I think the -9 is definitely tempting. I probably won't be playing it just because
I'm not either.
it's so close back-to-back that I get scared with taking that line. But, hey, who am I? So speaking of Coach O, though, go Tigers. LSU -7 at the beautiful Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where I just pray Auburn never plays ever again because we suck every time we play there. LSU -7 versus the Georgia Bulldogs, which I feel like are going to be out in full force.
They will be. This one's gonna be a tough one, man. I live right down the road from Mercedes, special place, home of the Falcons, But
we don't
no,
have to talk about it.
Who's that? Who are the Falcons?
Yeah, shush. We'll talk about the game. The Georgia Bulldog fans are out in full force right now. I think they believe they have a chance. I think their team has a chance. I think they have the best defense in the country. Shout out to Auburn, but they're the second. Unfortunately, I think Georgia's a tad bit better in the secondary and probably better coach with Kirby Smart. I love Kevin as well. I'm sorry. I just think they got some dogs on their defense. They're actually going to be able to hold Joe Burrow to under 30 points
on the defense.
I did. You like that?
I bet you they have some on the offense, and
they might. They might. I think they hold Joe Burrow to under 30 points, and they end up. I do. I think it's going to be. They're going to hold LSU to around 28 points. But I think Georgia's going to struggle to score as well. I think it's going to be a high emotional game at first. I think Georgia, and LSU are going to be really close at half, but LSU pulls away in the second half to win by, I'm not touching it. I don't know. I think 7 points a lot.
By a field goal.
Yeah, not yet. LSU. But LSU by 6.
Just inside the number. I will be on LSU.
I'm not taking it. Or 7. How about that? A push. Wherever it gets to at the end of the before it ends.
I'll be on LSU. A couple reasons why. I feel like the DeAndre Swift stuff reeks like Kerryon Johnson 2 years ago in the SEC title game. Yeah, he's fine. He's going to play. And then he plays, and he either plays like shit and or is removed from the game for that exact same injury. So I agree. I think the Georgia defense is really good, but they scored 23 on us. I see him scoring 28, potentially somewhere between 24 and 34. And I don't know how Georgia scores enough to cover that number. I just don't. I understand that LSU's defense has been living mostly off of the brand name that they've built over the last 2 decades this year, and they're not nearly as good as what their name and brand would suggest. But what I have seen from this Georgia Bulldogs offense is completely inept outside of playing Georgia Tech over the last month. If Swift is out, what does that mean for their ability to run the ball? I forgot the wide receiver kid that's out for the first half, but
Pickens.
Jake Fromm is Pickens. Sorry, Jake Fromm is much more of a game manager. I think Georgia's getting quite a bit of the benefit of the doubt for this game being in Atlanta, and I would expect the Cajuns to be out in full force for this one. So I'll lay the wood here. It's not really something I enjoy doing, but again, I've watched enough of these games. I don't know how Georgia gets into the 20s on the scoreboard unless you see a defensive or special teams touchdown, which is very difficult to handicap.
Yeah, I think the matchup that everyone's going to want to see is Joe Burrow and those LSU receivers versus that Georgia secondary, who is statistically number one in the country when it comes to pass defense. So going to be an interesting matchup. I tend to side with Jared on this one of the can Georgia score, because if Swift is hurt, I don't really know if Kirby Smart is going to run the football. They're going to try and take away opportunities for that LSU offense to have the football. If they're able to successfully run the ball, I think the spread is definitely threatened. And if Georgia comes out to a hot start, I think once again that spread can be threatened. But if LSU comes out right away and I think goes 5-6 plays down their throat and just boom, 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 touchdown, then I think it could be a long game for the Georgia Bulldogs, because eventually they're going to have to be aggressive offensively and let Jake Fromm try and win them the game. And if that happens, I definitely like the -7 in favor of the LSU Tigers.
Yeah, this would be something where I think I'll probably bet LSU, and if they're up at halftime by any significant margin, I will be doubling up on LSU at halftime, because I think, if, as Micah said, if you're able to put them behind the sticks, I mean, look, Georgia did it to us on our home field. Mm-hmm. They had that huge pop touchdown at the beginning of the game. They got that weird sequence thing right before half. It's 14-0, and really put us behind the 8 ball. Now, Bo Nix decided to show up in the fourth quarter for whatever reason, but I think it's a little bit different story with the Bulldogs. yeah, so I'll take LSU and look to double up on them.
I think Swift's fine, personally. I really do. I think Carry-On was hurt a lot worse than him. I think if Swift was really that hurt, I think they would have had ice or a sling on something on him when he was during the game. He was just pouting. I think he was just I think he really was. I swear, I think he just wanted out of the game. He knew it was over. And I think he was bitching about the 2 fumbles he had against Georgia Tech.
He is a powder. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he ain't Carry-On, please.
We're going to head to the Smurf Turf at Albertson Stadium for the WAC Championship. The Island coming in strong. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors plus 13.5 taking on the Boise State Broncos.
Ugh. This game is Barftown, USA. I've watched absolutely zero Hawaii football this year because they're on at like 12:30 Eastern time, and I am staring at the back of my eyelids. So I'll probably watch them do the haka and then get absolutely curb stomped by about 1 million on the Smurf Turf because it's going to be like 12 degrees, and these dudes are going to be like, bro, get me back home now. Get me out of here. I'll take Boise State. Not a confirmed or official play, but I will lean towards Boise.
Yeah, I would have to take Boise State as well. I did watch Hawaii, though, play at the beginning of the year. I don't know if you guys have seen their quarterback. Incredible hair. Like, unbelievable look.
Yeah, great flow.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Unbelievable.
No doubt.
He actually plays well. They run that nice air raid offense. So it's a fun game to watch. I don't know much about Boise State, but I do know they're a better football team, program. They have blue turf, better fans. All pros, no cons. I'm riding Boise.
I hear there's a potato shortage, so I think there's a lot riding on the state of Idaho right now that they need this football team to really give moral support to the great state of Idaho. Our cousin actually went to Idaho University, or University of Idaho, whatever the heck it's called.
Did you guys see the kid the other day that said the 5-star kid that was, or the 4-star kid that was like the University of Auburn?
Yeah.
So excited to commit to the University of Auburn. I'm like,
still the best
whatever,
man is.
Hopefully you're good.
We'll
hopefully you're good at football.
That's all that matters. Well, it's like
whatever,
that.
dude. Yeah, cool.
Who's the guy that committed a few years ago? He's like, I want to commit to the University of LSU. It's like, wait. Hold on.
Never gets old. It really doesn't.
No.
It's awesome stuff.
It doesn't. And every time I see Landon Collins, too, I think about that when he committed to Alabama and his mom just was so pissed off that he didn't go to LSU. It's still phenomenal. This is a tough one for me because if you've been listening to the podcast all year, Boise State always gets sprinkled into my card. They were earlier in the year. I had them against FSU. And I was like, holy crap. But I love their quarterback, whose name is currently escaping me right now, which shows you really how much I love him. Is he hurt?
Yeah.
Ah, shit. Well, that shows you I haven't been following him these last couple weeks.
It shows you how closely Mike's been following.
I was hardcore on him at the start of the year, and then they just kind of faded into oblivion.
Bachmeier. Hank Bachmeier.
Yeah, and his brothers' names are like Lion and Judah.
That's incredible.
Why is his name Hank then?
I don't know.
Cole McDonald is the name of the other kid.
Okay.
The Hawaiian quarterback.
Yeah. Siri is here. Okay. I was going to look it up, but Siri's wanted to jump in the podcast. That's real professional. Hawaii, as long as Colt Brennan isn't playing quarterback, I just get confused. I still think Colt Brennan's out there slinging the rock.
Timmy Chang out there spinning it.
Oh, that was before Brennan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Because Brennan
Timmy Chang set all the records, and then Brennan came in and broke them with June Jones.
Uh-huh. And then they went to the Sugar Bowl and played the Bulldogs, and Matt Stafford and Knowshon Marino absolutely just fisted them.
Lost by $1 million.
Yeah,
I was on Hawaii in that game. It was over in 10 minutes.
Oh, it's so
It was
great.
like the only other time I've known a game was over faster than that one was Bama and Notre Dame in the title game. Whatever that was, like 12, 13. I don't even remember.
13.
Well,
that was like...
Was it 12?
12.
Yeah.
You're right. It's right. It's 12. I'm like, this is not even close. Just totally different level of playing, and Georgia just took them to the woodshed.
Yeah. Murder on the field.
It was bad.
So
They did the haka, though. It was cool. I was real fired up, and then flushed my money down.
it was all over. Bachmeier's brothers' names: Bear, Tiger, and Buck. And you got named.
That's incredible.
As a dad, like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Well, how do you name one Hank and then you hit the other three with?
Was he older or younger?
He's, I believe, the oldest.
Oh.
So
I was
you're
gonna
like,
say,
here's a
it's
normal
like,
one,
hey,
and then it's like,
here's a normal one. And all the rest of you are going to be savages.
I guess
Tiger,
it's like
Lion,
naming your kid Smoke.
Rhino.
Shout out Smoke Monday. Still one of the greatest names in football.
Smoke Monday, touchdown.
Let's go.
So now we're getting into the two big ones.
Is it Kevius? Is it Carvius? What's the guy's name? Yeah, something like that. It starts with
Smoke.
Smoke, yeah.
Smoke's the other
Big Cat
guy.
Bryant. I'm just gonna jump ahead because we're not we're not gonna do the name game here. Next up, the All Clemson Conference. The Clemson Tigers minus 28.5. I'm not even seeing a money line on this game. Taking on the Virginia Cavaliers.
Yep.
This is minus 28.5 for the
What
Tigers.
a lock! It's such a lock too. I think. I mean, I'm taking Clemson 49-3. Like I think this is my national champion. Your Clemson Tigers. That's right. Another national championship is coming to Clemson, South Carolina this year. People have been sleeping on them, as Dabo says. I'm all in on the Dabo train.
Oh,
the man
boy.
knows what he's talking about. He is
Oh,
annoying.
shucks,
He is
Dabo.
annoying. He is annoying,
He is.
but definitely not Team Feinbaum here.
Yeah.
I just think
I used to wonder who listens to that show.
I think Clemson is fantastic, and Virginia doesn't have their best secondary player, right? I think he's out still. He's been out all year. You know what I'm talking about? The guy that was supposed to get drafted in the first round, he was just starting corner. Crazy.
I don't know.
Either way, he's out, and Clemson's going to throw all over them. Trevor Lawrence starting to shape up like Trevor always does. And, it's going to be a blowout, 49-3.
Blind
Good luck,
Jesus.
Virginia. Yep.
I agree with pretty much everything you just said, including the fact that I think Clemson's going to win the national title.
Let's go!
So get your tickets now, boys and girls.
Wow.
Not sold on Ohio State. Clemson, everyone's sleeping on them. Dabo and his dumbass, oh, shucks, we're just over here, little Clemson, winning our games. They're,
BYOG.
yeah, legit. I mean, and loaded. Just go check the recruiting rankings for the last 6 years,
It's incredible.
and then wonder why they're in the position that they're in. This one will be over in the second quarter. They can name their price here. Only question is, what they do with the guys in the second half. So I probably won't bet this one for that reason. I might bet them first half, but early and often for Clemson.
Yeah, I think it's a great story with Bronco Mendenhall and Virginia, making it to this game. What did Herb Street say on game day about how many different teams have gone to the ACC championship? And somebody was trying to say how it's, it shows how good the division of the league is because of everyone's just a different person every year. And Herb Street was like, I don't know if I'd exactly say that. I think it's mostly just, what? They're in at 7-3, 5-2 in conference, and they're playing now. Clemson is undefeated. You're telling me also Miami came into this and still has not gone to the ACC championship game? Absolutely unbelievable.
That's wild.
But yeah, I think if you're going to go anywhere on this one, it's going to be Clemson. I do agree with Jared's point of it could be scary that they're just going to jump out so hot and heavy on Virginia early that they could call the dogs off as a way
That
to...
Virginia offense is inept when they
That's
have
true.
to pass the ball.
It's true. You're not wrong. It's just you get those garbage times in there, and I don't. My fear of the back door is just too. In more ways than one, I'm always scared of the back door.
Points, all valid points.
And last but not least, we're gonna go to Lucas Oil Stadium for the Big Ten championship game. I'm still butthurt about this. Speaking of back doors, Wisconsin plus 16 against the not copyrighted Ohio State University.
Am I up on who wants to go on this?
Fire away.
All you
Firing
yard
away. I think, like you said, I think you hinted on it. I do think Ohio State's a tad bit overrated. I think LSU and Clemson are the top 2 teams in the country. I think Ohio State is going to win and cover this football game. I think Wisconsin is too one-dimensional for Ohio State's D-line. I think their defense is very good. I don't know much about their secondary because I don't think they've faced an incredible passing offense yet. But I think Ohio State wins this game by 21, 24 points. I think Wisconsin struggles to move the football. But like you hinted earlier, I think if you stop Justin Fields from running the football and make him pass and put him in 3rd and long situations, I think Ohio State will struggle on offense. I don't think they've faced a dominant defense yet. That's just my opinion. And I think you might see that from a Clemson, Georgia, or LSU. I'm not saying LSU. No, they suck. But you know what I mean? I just think if you have time to prepare for Ohio State, I think if you shut down that run with Dobbins, which I think some teams can do, and make Fields throw and put him in pressuring situations, I think they might struggle.
Yeah, I will not probably be getting to the window with this one, but if you put a gun to my head, I'm probably going to be on Wisconsin just because I trust them to muddy and muck it up enough to make it respectable. And I really like Paul Chryst. This is a complete narrative-based brand play on Wisconsin. I don't think anyone is surprised that they ran it up and down Michigan in a huge rivalry game, and now they got to go and basically just win to get in. Now, I've been really impressed by their offense, but again, I trust Wisconsin and that defense and Paul Chryst to keep it in check. I think there'll be a lot of bend, don't break. I think the coaching staff is good enough to say, let's get this in the 4th quarter and hope that the ball bounces our way once or twice, and maybe we can steal a win.
I don't think I'm going to be getting to the window either on this one, but if I did, I would actually go Ohio State, and it's only because of this reason. I just don't think that Wisconsin can run the football, and I don't think that they are inept or capable enough at the quarterback position with Jack Cohn to really do anything. Jack Cohn averaged 6.4 yards per pass against them back in, when did they play? It was late October. Taylor only had 52 yards, I believe, in that game on 20 carries, so he was averaging 2.6. I don't think if you have to get Taylor going if you're Wisconsin, and it just I just don't see it happening. And but I kind of fall back into that same discussion with Clemson. Do you get into any garbage time stuff? It's just unbelievable when you look at the stats. 24 first downs in the first game to Wisconsin's 9. Total yards, Ohio State put up 430 to Wisconsin's 191. They just dominated them all facets of the game.
Players are not going to forget that.
No, I agree with that, but I also just think up front, why Wisconsin did to Minnesota what they did last week was it started snowing, and they were able to just get it going on the run game, where that's Wisconsin's bread and butter. And Minnesota is definitely undersized on the defensive line compared to Wisconsin's. Surprise. That's not going to happen when you play Ohio State. They're going to be as big, and they're going to be faster, and they're probably going to be stronger. So I don't think they can run the ball, and I just don't think it's in a dome. It's in a controlled environment. I think Fields will be fine, but that's my 2 cents on the game. I've been impressed with Ohio State. I haven't watched much Clemson since the North Carolina game because it was just jammed down my throat. But I'm excited. I'll probably watch Clemson on Saturday night just so I can get a nice little taste in the first quarter of them. But I don't think I'm going to end up getting to the window on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go watch some Auburn hoops. They're actually trailing.
Yeah,
and then halftime it appears.
Yeah, they're down 8.
That's true. I guess it's hoop season now.
But
Isn't that
we
brutal?
have Bruce Pearl.
We're a basketball school now.
That's true.
That's fine with me.
So the real question is, Yard Dog, if Auburn gets in the Citrus Bowl, are you coming down?
That's a no.
Yeah, that's a hard pass.
No.
He was thinking about maybe being more polite.
No, the bigger question is if Auburn plays Minnesota, who are you pulling for?
I will be in my bathroom.
Wow, I can't believe you didn't have to think about that. That's embarrassing to me.
Shout out John Grayson, but he said you'd pull for Minnesota because it would mean more.
No, it wouldn't mean more to me. I would be pulling for my alma mater.
That's what I said. Thank you.
Yeah. No,
we have a Mike and I have him. Well, he's my friend, I guess, but he's a mutual friend now. But who is actually went to Minnesota for 2 years and then transferred to Auburn with me, graduated with me. Wild. So I have long been waiting for the day that, because I am of the opinion that this particular individual will pull for the Gophers. But and I thought I would get my opportunity to see it this year, but now it's getting all kind of sideways.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope maybe Auburn hops into a Power 5 or Power 6 bowl.
I've seen a couple Cotton Bowl.
That'd be cool.
Projections. Which I was supposed to go with my wife to the Oregon game in Jerry World, and then
might be a good excuse to get back out there.
Yeah, that's well said, Micah.
Jared and I made a pact. The only time we'd ever go to Jerry World is if the Vikings or if Auburn is playing out there. So it looks like one of our wishes may become true.
I went to Oregon. It was good, man. It was a beautiful place.
That's why I feel like you just got to see it. Like, you got to get there. You got to do it.
It's
gotta go do it.
A lot bigger than Mercedes-Benz, that's for sure.
And that place is huge.
Yeah, definitely.
The place is huge. Well, Yard Dog, thanks so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. It was a pleasure, guys. Nice talking to you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, Junkies. We will be you got the NFL podcast coming out tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend full of football. Enjoy your last real weekend of college football before the NFL takes over our beloved Saturdays. Thanks so much.
See ya.